So you got your board, you've been shredding it, but now it's time to learn a little shred maintenance. All right, so how I'm gonna go about this is share what I've done in the past to preserve my boards, and then also share feedback from the community to hopefully help the beginners out there. I'm gonna cover the deck, grip tape, trucks, wheels, and bearings. And if you find this video helpful at all, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like below and subscribe if you're new around here. It really helps our channel out. One other real quick thing before I officially get into it, I finally figured out how to do affordable international shipping for our t-shirts. They're limited edition and they're selling out quick, so make sure to get yours. The best type of maintenance is preventative maintenance. Say it with me, preventative maintenance. You want to try your best to avoid riding in wet conditions, regularly cleaning your bearings, and overall just keeping a close eye on your deck so that if there's any issues, you can address it before it becomes a problem. Personally, I've made a habit to always check if the hardware is tightened before I go out riding. If you're an everyday commuter, then a lot of people suggested if you can't avoid wet conditions to have a wet setup. And basically what that means is just having an old set of trucks, wheels, and bearings that you can easily swap out. This way you're not gonna ruin your main setup. I guess what I'm really getting at here is everyone's situation is gonna be different, obviously. Just keep a close eye on your board before you go out riding. So let's start with the deck, and I tried to think of the most common issues, and I would say the biggest one for me personally, and I think a lot of people out there, is getting minor cracks and chips in your nose or tail. If it's like a hairline crack or a minor chip, I really wouldn't bug out about it too much. Obviously, it's your call, but when I would start to address the issue is if it's a major crack or a chip. For example, I've gotten my Tan to delaminate on the nose quite a few times. So I'm using Gorilla wood glue for this, but I've also used Type Bond in the past. It's fairly straightforward to do. Flip your board vertically so gravity will pull the glue deeper into the crack, and simply apply it. Clamp it down and you're gonna have some glue that runs out, so wipe that up and then let it dry for however long it instructs you. If it's a crack that's hard to get, I'd recommend picking up one of these glue syringes. It's definitely not necessary, but it'll make your life a lot easier. You can even go a step further and pick up a urethane formula like this urethane spray to just protect it from any moisture getting back in there and delaminating it. The other thing you can do is if your deck has a major chip like this one, is use wood filler. It's pretty straightforward. Just spread it on, let it dry, and then sand it down. Now, if your riding style is all about just cruising and you don't really care about using your tail or nose, then I would definitely suggest looking into nose guards. The last common issue that I can think of for decks is it more pertains to like cruisers and traditional skateboards is razor tail. Back when I was into traditional skateboarding, what I would do is take sandpaper and just sand the back of my deck. So this would obviously shorten the board, but it would help with razor tail a little, not too much. But a more effective way, which it's pretty tedious process, and it was recommended by Ty Mixon, which involves super glue and then sprinkling sawdust, letting that dry, super glue, sprinkling sawdust, and rinse and repeat until it evens out and you can sand it down a little. I've personally never tried it, but I wanted to share it with those of you out there that really can't afford to buy a new deck. I'm gonna overlay Ty Mixon's instructions. So pause it right now if you're interested in this method, because I'm gonna move on. The most common grip tape issue seems to be dirt and grime, so that's what I'm gonna cover right now. When I was younger, I would take a toothbrush and some water and just scrub the dirt off. But water on a wooden deck is never a good idea. What I do now is use a sanding belt cleaner that I got for like $4 off of Amazon, and it pretty much does everything that a toothbrush with water can do. Sometimes it's a little hard to get dirt that's in deeper spots, so if you really want to, you can gently use a wire brush, but just keep in mind that grip tape is essentially like sandpaper and it will wear down over time, especially if you use a lot of force. Moving on to bearings, I want to emphasize that you should not use WD-40 in your bearings because it's not a lubrication. It will dry them out and it will also attract more dirt and grime. Overall, just ruining your bearings. The key to having your bearings perform properly is always having them lubed. The best thing you can do to clean your bearings is pop off the plastic caps, use a cleaner bottle like the ones from Bones, although you could easily make your own and definitely don't need this. Line up your bearings spaced out, add in some natural citrus cleaner. I got this specific one from Amazon, but you really don't need this one. Honestly, I'd recommend just picking up a cheaper one from your local hardware store. Fill your bottle about a quarter of the way and shake it. Take them out, shake them onto a paper towel, and let them dry. Before you add the lube, it's important to make sure they completely dry off. I usually just wait, but to speed up the process, you can use an air spray can or a blow dryer. And once they're dry, you can use a lubricant like Bones Speed Cream. 1, 2, 3, and whoopah, your bearings are good to go. All right, now moving on to the wheels. The two main issues that I could think of are them wearing uneven from sliding or just them getting dirty. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that if you're doing slides, different variations, your wheels aren't gonna wear evenly. I really don't do it because I'm just into cruising and carving, but just make sure to keep an eye on them. Another issue for wheels that I briefly mentioned is that they get dirty. So what I usually do is put warm water and soap in a bucket, let them sit for about 10-15 minutes, and then scrub them. Finally, let's address the truck issues. The most common, I would say, is that they start squeaking. All you gotta do is take some soap shavings or wax shavings, sprinkle them in the pivot cup, sprinkle them in between the bushings, and that should solve your issue. And the other thing you can do is completely take your trucks apart and just wipe them down with some soap and water. Just make sure that you get all of the water off so that it doesn't rust any of your parts. And there you have it. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you have more efficient ways of going about the things that I shared, definitely drop a comment and share them. I'm curious, and I'm sure everyone else watching this video is too. I'll definitely publish a bunch of the suggestions on our website, but I'll also make a pinned comment. So scroll down if you made it to the end of this video and you'll find a bunch of other suggestions there, hopefully. If you watch this within the first 10 minutes that I dropped it, then I appreciate you, but there's not gonna be a pinned comment. Maybe you can contribute. I don't know.